Oh, all right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another recap. Today was the start of the September Swiss at Boylston Chess Club. This is now the third Swiss Tuesday night tournament I've entered. Remember my first one, July, first time I've ever played in a tournament. Won it last month, August. I kind of got rocked and socked in the 4 games. I went 1-3. So today I was signed back up in the U1910 section, and I wanted to give it my best shot. It seems as though compared to 2 months and a month ago, there were a lot of players signed up. I could be off, but I think there's 38 total players, which is fantastic to see. Last session, my section only had 6 people in it. This time around, the midsection, which generally I've seen attracts the fewest number of players because the open, obviously the best players and players who want to play against the top players. The U15 is like a very broad sweeping, so you get a lot of kind of like everyone who's low rated, as well as people like me, for example, where my rating is close enough to it where sometimes they're just kind of playing down. So the midsection really has the smallest pull. Nonetheless, I signed up because I didn't want to take it easy on myself in the U15, and frankly, especially after my poor performance last month, I didn't think I was ready to enter the open section. So my goal is I need to win the U19s before I can move on to the big boys. And again, to be fair, it's hard to say how good the quality of opponents last month, as in if they were correctly rated. For example, I do think Dumiso Birchward is very high rated. His rating just hasn't caught up to it yet. And frankly, I pissed away the game against Phineas Haig. So in theory, I probably should have gone like 2-2 against honestly a decent level quality opponent. But nonetheless, that's sour grapes. Today is a new tournament. Today is a new day, and let's get into it. So my opponent, there's a little story. So I show up a bit early. I'm now social with a lot of people. Again, my overwhelming take is that people are so nice, both before games as well as after games. In fact, there was a new player. I'm blanking on his name now, but I'll comb through the Boylston Chess Club, who was like, "Hey, you want to play a quick game?" And honestly, this is kind of a mistake, I think, for me, because when I go into blitz mode, I stop classical mode. This was my mistake last Thursday. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but I kind of got sick the last week. I may have impacted my play, but I'm finally feeling better today. My voice has really improved, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll be all better. But nonetheless, I played this fella. He beat me the first game. Second game, I actually was winning both on the clock and kind of on the board, and then I made an illegal move. He's like, no, we can play it out. And I was like, no, you win. Like, whatever. It doesn't count for anything. I made an illegal move. And then he tells me afterwards, he's like, I'm 2,000 rated on chess.com. I'm like, holy shit, how is everyone, like, my ratings on chess.com are pretty good. I'm like, how is everyone at this club better than me? But somehow he's only played a few games over the board, so his rating right now is like 1270, but he's provisionally ranked. So he's actually in the U1500 section. But this is another guy who very, very possibly is a better chess player than me. But, although I probably should have been 1-1 in blitz, for the record. Nonetheless, I was slated to play a young lady named Haley. I chatted with her. I sat down the board. She basically said that she skipped the last 2 months. So I was like, that's why I haven't met you yet. But apparently she's a regular at the Boylston Chess Club. We had a nice conversation about our backgrounds for a little bit. We were all prepped to go with the round. And then, boom, they jiggled the pairings. And I was set. I was going to be white. And then they swap it on me, and my opponent turns out to be James Fallon. By the way, now that I had a nice conversation, we had a recap after the game, and he told me he actually prefers Jamie. He says James was his father. So I'm in the note, I'm going to write down Jamie Fallon, because that's what he prefers. Nonetheless, and I was salivating because I thought to myself, it's time for redemption. Euron Shea got redemption against me on the Thursday club night. Whereas, I don't know if you remember, but my first ever loss in classical was to Jamie Fallon. And, to be completely fair, in that game, I had a brilliant sacrifice, but I didn't see the exact follow-up, and then I blundered a piece. And it was a very good teaching moment for me, but I was determined that I wanted to play him again, because I was pretty sure that I'd be able to get the dub. And again, the main point of all this is to have fun, to really challenge myself. Winning is secondary. It's probably not tertiary. I still think winning is very important, but the goal is to be challenged and really have a pleasurable experience. Nonetheless, it was nice to basically play him. He won the U1500 section, so kind of similar to what I did 2 months ago. And so it was a match made in heaven. We were playing on board 3 in our section of the boards, and I was still slated as white. So I remembered our first game. I remembered exactly because I played a Catalan with a rook sacrifice to a knight where he made a very goofy move in early like c6 or so. So I actually didn't mind if we would repeat the same setup. So I considered kind of going back to that and like rectifying my mistakes. But instead we get a slightly different variation right from the start. In fact, if I pull back my old game, but it's funny, this is now the second time in a tournament playing as white pieces against a similar opponent. I remember I did get a good opening out of him with the Catalan. I just didn't see, after I made this very daring sacrifice, I didn't see the proper knight tactic. So I was kind of ready to repeat. But again, I'm not in a position where I remember moves perfectly, although I'm pretty sure this did happen last time around. Nonetheless, we're playing just the QGD, the Queen's Gambit Declined. All this is very, very normal and nominal. And I'm basically playing similar moves. I think, and I double check, I think the game before against him, I played an early G3, because again, I went into the Catalan. So I guess I didn't go back into it, because I'm pretty sure the last time I played him, I played G3 with the idea of getting the Catalan setup. That's the fianchettoed Bish. And then he played, again, an early C6. Instead, this time around, I played A3. A3 is a move. It's a reasonable move. It's a book move. And the reason why is I'm just stopping the pin, because I find in a lot of setups it's very annoying against my knight on C3. It's the natural developmental move for the bishop as well. And in theory, it's taking away a potential knight jump in the future if he develops to C6, so he no longer has B4. So it kind of lets me just, build up slowly. I like the A3 move a lot. In fact, Blitz and whatnot, I play that a lot. Now, he played a very strange move here, knight B to D7. And when he played at this board, he was blitzing moves very, very quickly, for the record, playing very, very fast. And when he played this, I knew we were out of book because I'd never seen this move before, to be completely honest. And I know it's a bad move. Again, when I say bad move, it's whatever. It's still not that terrible. But I knew it was the wrong move. I'm not exactly good enough to know why it's the wrong move. I know that I can't directly attack, kind of put a pin. My light square bishop is over here. I wasn't sure if that meant I should be pushing c5 and kind of box him in with the idea of a c6, if I play my queen to c2, things like that. So the computer doesn't like this move, and I haven't really seen it, again, online or whatnot. The reason why is that it doesn't make much sense. His jumps are taken away by my d-pawn, and I'm not even sure he really wants to put the knight on b6, because then it really does invite me to play c5, just kind of locking it down. So none of this makes sense to me. But when he played, knight b to d7, he didn't know what the right response was, and I then went down to the basics. I thought, all right, his bishop can never come to life on this diagonal, so he's probably going to want to fianchetto. And if he wants to fianchetto, then the best thing for me to do is lock down his pawn on d5 to kind of block the scope. So by process of elimination, I thought it meant the best move is for me to trade. If he trades with his knight, I would then trade my knight, and he'd be left with basically, it's not really an isolated pawn, but we'd be left kind of an impasse where he'd really have problems developing his bishop. So that was my thought process, and I'm really happy. Looks like the computer says I made the best move. So I play c takes, and again, I in the early game, I dropped down about 10 minutes behind him, maybe even 15. I was taking my time in the opening. A, I was really trying to overcompensate from the blitz earlier, and B, I hadn't seen this move before. I knew it was bad, and I couldn't spend, terribly long figuring out exactly why, so I just tried to make the natural moves. Interestingly, the computer, it's equal between knight takes. If he took with a knight, I would have traded with my knight, but he went pawn takes. And, we just have, the good old Indian game, pretty clear setup. I liked my position a little bit because I thought he's going to have difficulty, developing his bishop. And he doesn't have a good square for his dark square bishop either because, again, I'm taking away the natural spots with the a3 move. So again, the computer says I'm only plus 0.3. It's not like I have a massive win. But in the opening, I did like my position. So I play with, to me, what's the natural move. Apparently, b4 getting a London setup is ideal. But I play one of the top moves, which is knight f3. Again, just trying to get my pieces out. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Again, according to the computer, there is something wrong with it, but, whatever. He now plays bishop d6. And when he plays bishop d6, immediately I thought, again, this was a kind of a strange move. Now, it is the best move according to the computer. But I again, I took like another 10 minutes because I was calculating. Because as soon as he does that, I thought, all right, well, can I just play knight to b5, which is the best move, by the way? Because then it forces him to move his bishop back, or I take and it fucks up his pawn structure, right? Like if he castles after that, I take, he's going to have double pawns, and I'm going to have the bishop pair. So it just felt like an immediate opening win without me really exerting that much thought process, that much, cognitive thinking, if you will. So it just seemed like the natural move. I did tank for a little bit, and it's funny, the other move I considered was g5, because again, when he develops the bishop out here, he's going to have to spend another move to kind of prevent me from pinning the knight to the queen. So those were the two moves I looked at, and nice. And by the way, I also considered queen c2, which is the third best computer move, because again, just to control the file, and then swing my rook onto a to c1. So I'm glad, actually, I'm patting myself on the back, that I'm very comfortable in these positions, that kind of the natural moves to me do seem to be the top computer lines. So I feel good. I feel good in the opening. Again, there's a reason I probably shouldn't stray too far from sort of there's a saying, the gal that took you to the prom. And Jamie made a very strange move here. And like, I'm telling you, like, I wanted to think about my opponent's moves, but he played a move I didn't consider. I thought he was either going to play the knight out here to b6, which the computer likes, thereby opening up his queen to his bishop. I would go trade. He would then retake, and I would just be up, the bishop pair, and then he'd be up the castle, and he would basically win, like, he'd be up one tempo, essentially, and I would have a slightly better position. Or I thought that he would then have to be forced to just drop the bishop back to e7, kind of admit he made a mistake putting it on d6, and life would go on. But he plays a move that I just wasn't even considering. There's no way this can be a good move, and he plays knight f8. It's funny, if you look at the computer readout, is his move is really not that bad. Like, it's still a good move. It's not like a blunder. It's not like even an inaccuracy or mistake. But conceptually, there's no way that this can be right. He's now preventing himself from castling. He's allowing me to grab, the bishop. Wow, really, arrows are so hard. He's allowing me to grab the bishop. Again, this is one of the few spots in the opening, even though I did drop below an hour, actually, pretty quickly, like within 9 or 10 moves, actually. And I thought, all right, this is an opening win. I don't really see a place that, it's not like I want to move back with my knight. His bishop should be better in theory. Let's just trade. And so I play knight takes on d6, check, the plus sign. And I assume he doesn't want to take with the pawn. It's just worse. He'd give himself the double pawns for nothing. And he goes queen takes. Now, in this position, I thought this was interesting. I really tanked here because I noticed he really has trouble castling. And if he ever castles, his rook would be here, his queen would be here, which means it's setting me up for a skewer. So my first thought idea is one of the best moves is just, why don't I just develop the bishop to d2? It's developing a piece off its opening square, and I've got this very clear threat. It's keeping him from castling. He still's a few turns away from doing that anyway, and I have a very obvious threat. I thought about other moves. They like e3, which I considered, by the way, because that's going to be one of my. That's probably going to be my next move. And queen c2. So basically, the three moves I considered again are the top moves. So I'm feeling my oats here. Anyway, I elected after my candidate moves just play bishop d2 because it made sense to me. I play the a3 move so I can set it up. This is making it very hard for him to castle. He can never push c5 because then obviously takes, and then I can just bop my bishop out. And I felt like that was maybe not winning, but very, very strong because his king is going to be in the center of the board and he's going to have really big problems developing. So so I just felt naturally. I play bishop d2. He responds with the knight to g6. So he's very, he wants to basically castle. He wants to get it out of the way. And again, I thought to myself, well, I don't need to play this immediately. I can kind of set a trap. And if I do another developing move and then he castles, then I can hit him with the bishop b4. And look at that. I'm just going to win an exchange. So I didn't think I needed to play it right away. Interesting, the computer elects queen c2 as the best move. I do like this because like long-term hitting the c7 pawn. But I now go for what I thought was the natural move, which is up there as well. Maybe I should have considered sort of the outside passer, kind of like pushing the pawn down the board. But I now play e3, which again is up there. It's totally fine. And my thinking is, if I'm always bringing my bishop out to the queen side, I can now lock up the center and just have a strong pawn chain, and I'd be in good shape there. So I play e3. I don't think this is a bad move, by the way. Computer, it actually says it's one of the best moves. All right, fantastic. All right, so I'm playing a pretty strong opening so far. Cool. I really didn't like his knight to b to d7 for the record. It's funny that I'm only up plus 0.4 in this position with the long-term threat and the fact that I'm faster to develop. I thought I was like clearly better in the fact that I've got the double bishops. But one thing that I will say without like over speculating is I think that I might be too optimistic in my evaluations. Like every game I've played, I like always feel like my position's better, and then you look at it on the computer and it's like, yeah, maybe it's better, but it's like plus 0.2, which is nothing. It means nothing. So yeah, maybe I'm just like, that's the way I'm in life. I'm just a big optimist. So maybe on the chessboard as well, I'm just a big optimist. Like I'm always thinking I should be fighting because I have the better position. But like it's just, yeah, maybe some people are pessimists. There's so many games I played with different people and different strategy games. Whether it's poker or different card games, Hearthstone, things like that. There's some people I know that always think they're about to lose, whereas I always think I'm about to win. I don't know. Maybe that says something about my personality or my outlook on life. But anyway. And he responds with what I think is the best move in the position. Computer doesn't like it, but he plays a5. And the reason I like this so much is it now stops my idea of bishop b4. It's I thought that was like pretty strong because again, I want to play that, slamming the door, preventing him from castling. And I go into the tank again. Now there are 10 moves in. I've used more than 30 minutes. I really have gone into a thing. And the reason why, again, now that I look at it, is because he played this unorthodox, probably bad move. I didn't have like my normal like boom, boom, boom book. So it forced me to kind of think. And it turns out I made some pretty good moves, but that's probably why. All right. Nonetheless, and I guess you can hear my voice. It's still a little raspy at times. I now tank a long time because for the record, I wanted to play b4. I didn't. I thought b4 was good here. It is the best move by far. I really should have played b4. I'll show you what I played first, and then I'll show you why I thought b4 wasn't able to be played. I played bishop d3, which is one of the better moves, but yeah, I considered this move as well. I just didn't think it did much. It didn't really like force a weakness or anything like that. Computer even recommends that. All right, I played bishop d3 because to me this is the natural move. It's like the last minor piece. Computer still says it's excellent. Preparing, possibly castling. Possibly getting my queen to c2, which is what I want, kind of on this long diagonal, blah, 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 blah. The reason I didn't play b4 is I thought if I push b4, he'd have an in-between move of knight to e4, which is the second best move. And I thought that this would be good for him, because then I was thinking takes, and I thought that he would then trade. I would take with my queen, and in this position, I thought I wasn't really up a pawn. He would be winning it back. He doesn't really have any issues castling. Yeah, and then castle. I saw this, and for some reason the computer likes this, but I saw this position. This is what I thought would happen, and I didn't like it as much for me. And again, I would say that evaluating positions, I'm not exactly a noob, but I'm hardly great, is probably like the trickiest thing. I saw this position. I calculated this out, and to me, even though I'm up a pawn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 6. Right. It didn't really seem like it was up a pawn, and I was giving back the bishop. This position looked very mediocre to me. Then after castles, again, what did they recommend? Bishop e2. I'd probably play that, or I'd play bishop d3. I probably wouldn't have made the better move with the e2. Or just trying to play the queen here, trying to get him to trade. Anyway, I saw this position, and it doesn't seem, I'm going to be honest, it just doesn't seem that good to me. So it would have been slightly better, but I didn't do that. So instead I played bishop d3, thinking that this kind of slammed the door shut, and then I wasn't quite ready to play my b4, and I really was worried about this knight e4 move. Now, what's funny is the computer still thinks it's the best move for him, I kind of thought that. I think I told him that in a recap, multiple times. I was constantly looking out for him slamming the door shut with the knight. It's like the perfect square for it, but he didn't move that there for whatever reason. So in this position, once bishop d3 is played, he castles, which I think, okay, it's the best move as well. There's nothing wrong with it. And I thought now that I've allowed him to castle by not like pushing the b4 and scissoring him, I kind of lost my advantage. And I looked at this, and objectively, the computer says I'm up, plus 0.3 or plus 0.2, which is nothing. I thought the only thing that I really have in this position is probably the open file and the bishop pair. Other than that, there really wasn't anything here. So I went from, I thought I had a good opening, to I felt like I made the mistake, probably by not playing b4, that I kind of like missed the opportunity, if you will, missed the initiative. So I thought about the position. I thought, all right, if I can't figure out the best developing move for myself, I was a little bit worried about castling right away and having him basically get a quick attack. I wasn't sure if I was super safe if I castle. Computer does like castling. I thought, all right, let's take away his best move. And I thought his best move was to go knight e4. So I thought, all right, I can centralize my queen. I can activate it. I want it to be on this diagonal anyway, or excuse me, this file. So then long term, I can apply pressure to the c7 pawn. And now he can't play the knight here, because then it would be takes, takes, takes. So with the process of elimination, I played queen c2, which is, looking at this, the second best move. I don't know why it's plus 0.2, 0, and then plus 0.07. Makes no sense. But I played this move. And I was pretty happy with this. Yeah, computer gives it an excellent. All right, I feel good. With the pure idea that I've got long-term potential threat. I'm getting it off its starting square, so I'm developing. And I'm taking away his knight jump to e4. He very quickly plays the natural move, which is rook to e8. I think he does that anyway. Let's see. Move 12. Yeah, rook e8, which the computer likes, and it makes a lot of sense. And now I kind of side, because I realized that I cannot stop the knight jumping regardless, and that I probably wouldn't be able to keep the bishop pair. So when that happened, this is where, funny enough, I did a 20-minute thing. So I was at around an hour-ish, and I spent 20 minutes on this next move because I looked at this and I couldn't decide the best move. I knew castling was okay. I'm going to say that is the best move on the computer. And I thought to myself, the computer probably thinks this is the best move. But I'm going to tell you guys, I was a little bit afraid of a quick attack. Again, the knight jumping to g4. And maybe he basically would have some like long-term threat or so. Or not long-term, like basically short-term attack. Whereas I have nothing on the queen side. And I thought my pieces were actually kind of boxed in by this pawn chain, like this bishop is shitty. So I was a little bit worried about castling and kind of opening the door to be attacked. Mostly because the last few games, like I started 7-1, and then since then I've gone 2-5, right? So I'm like 9-6 currently entering tonight's game. And I feel like at the start, I've obviously swindled a few games, but I've mostly been on the attack, kind of, and when I've been on the back foot, this losing streak, I've kind of responded very poorly. So I just didn't want to get attacked. I thought castling would open the door to it. I did think to myself it was probably the best move, but I kept trying to make knight g5 work. I didn't see it, by the way. There's no way that this line would play out this way, by the way, with him sacrificing the pawn. If I played my my knight to g5, I thought he was just going to push it back or something like that. Well, no, then he would lose the pawn. Yeah, maybe that was a better move. I don't know. I thought that it would be hanging in some lines, and I'd have to like push h4, and then maybe there'd be trades there. I don't know. I didn't want to move my my knight to g5, so I actually ruled that out rather quickly. So I spent 20 minutes on this move, and I considered h4 for the record, basically attacking myself down on the king side while I'm not quite castled, and then I could like run to safety. And I played what I thought was the best waiting move, which I thought would incrementally improve my position. Because my reason for not castling was I thought that maybe the knight jumping to g4 was scary, and I also didn't want to get pinned with his bishop. So I played the move that made sense to me, again, after 20 minutes, which is h3. Now, it's not like a terrible move. Computer does rule this as an inaccuracy, but you have to understand, I couldn't see a clear plan. I didn't think I had the ability to play b4, like again, if I look in this position. The knight jumping out to g5 didn't quite work, and I didn't want to invite an attack with castling. So I was trying to just play a move that I thought would be better in my position. And I do think h3 improves my position, because it takes away this jump, it takes away this pin, it further restricts where his light square bishop can develop. Because if you look at like the positives I have in this position, I'm going to have the c file, like the open file. He has the e file, open file. My king is less safe than his. But he's got a bad bishop right now. It has very few places to develop, and I've got the bishop pair. So that's kind of the slightly double-edged, if you will. Nonetheless, I just couldn't see anything better. I spent 20 minutes on it. I'm surprised that the computer thinks it's that bad, that I'm losing basically half a pawn by playing this move. But, yeah, and they like the more aggressive h4 if I just want to, like, launch an attack myself. But, yeah, I didn't see another improving move that, that improved my position. I did consider rook c1. That was the other thing I did. But I thought if I played rook c1 here, which is, again, very clearly attacking this pawn, I thought he could ignore it, yeah, and I thought he could play just bishop f4 here, and I thought I had to be the one to respond to him, right away. Like, I don't have time to actually win this pawn. And I thought he was getting a fast attack. Obviously, I cannot take because he is pinning me. So I didn't like... So that's why I ruled out that move. Again, if he plays this, I thought if I played h3 and he plays that maybe I could just castle. Anyway, so nonetheless, I play h3. Now, what's funny is he responds after I took 20 minutes on this move. It's a waiting move. He now takes 20 minutes on his move. And the whole time, I'm looking at knight e4. I'm looking at knight f4. And those were the two moves I saw. I also saw c6, just kind of, building the pawn chain himself, ruling out any, like, direct attack that I might have down on the queen side. And after 20 minutes, my opponent, Jamie, not James, Fallon, plays the best move in the position, and he plays knight f4. And I'm going to be honest, when he played this, at first I thought that I could ignore it. I thought it wasn't a big deal. But then I thought if we trade, if he trades and trades, now he can just land the knight on e4, and he's actually playing good knight versus bad bishop. I thought I would like his position better. I thought about sacrificing a pawn in this position by just going queenside castling, which I thought was kind of insane. If he takes, basically I then swing the rook, and then I have a genuine attack. So I thought about a pawn sacrifice. I thought that I could castle heal as well, just giving up the bishop, but then at the end I was scared of this very, very strong knight, and I still have sort of the weaknesses where I might be attacked. So I spent, another pretty decent thing. I went from... I think I was probably on like an hour, 2 minutes before the last move, and then maybe I didn't spend 20 minutes, but like 18. I was probably on like 44 minutes, and I spent another like 4 minutes on this move. And again, I was all set to trade and give up the bishop pair, and then I find the best move in the position. I find it very quiet. It looks passive, but it defends the square. It retains my bishop pair, and I just play nice and solid bf1. I'm really happy. The computer thinks that I made the best move in the position because I had a lot of self-doubt when I played this move because I knew it looked really stupid. I'm preventing myself from castling. It's very passive. But I thought if I moved my bishop out of the way, his knight isn't really doing much. And then eventually when I place my own knight on e5 and all these lines, his knight will be under attack. So I thought that it kind of saved the position. It looked pretty good. And thankfully, the computer agrees. My opponent here, who's playing through 14 moves, he's used about half his time as well. He's made a few inaccuracies, like again from the opening, moves that I didn't quite count on him to make or understand. It seems like I didn't take advantage of them the most proper way. Plays what I consider, in the post-cap when we went over it, his first clear blunder of the match. Clear blunder, because I thought this was a really bad move. Now, I'll explain his logic for playing it. I'll show you the move first. He plays b6. Computer hates his move. Inaccuracy. Yeah. He played it because he wants, like, again, I'm so glad that this pawn on d5 is kind of blocking in his bishop. So the fianchetto just kind of lands in front of it. So he was saying the whole time he wanted to move, the bishop out here, because that's the last piece he's got to develop. And he thought b6 allowed it. But I then saw that the c7 square is super weak, and I can basically redeploy my bishop, and I'm immediately, basically clear lines on his rook. So when he plays b6, I finally, I thought he was, playing pretty well. At this point, I thought, once again, I've kind of dodged the move here. I'm defending everything. I have a clear plan now. Like, he showed me the door about how he wants me to attack him, so I'm thrilled about that. And I don't waste any time. I play the best move in the position. This is what I was planning on playing, almost regardless of what he would do. Is I gave myself a great square. I played knight e5. It is the best move in the position, and it's a multi-purpose move. First off, he is no longer pinning. He is no longer pinning my pawn to my king, so I'm free to take his knight. So I'm attacking it. Number two, I'm basically controlling all these squares now, which is fantastic. And number 3, I could potentially play f3 in different lines, to like lock up, especially if I want to open the door for my dark square bishop. So I just thought it did everything, and certainly when he played b6, it wasn't enough for me to not do that. So I was pretty happy. My opponent realizes he's got to move this knight. Interestingly enough, he can... Yeah, g6 is slightly better. I think I told him that. I think we talked after the game. The moves are super equal, but we thought that he probably should have gone here with the idea of basically just like trading off. But instead he plays knight e6. And he told me he played this move because he wanted to be able to push c5, and he thought that like kind of helped him do that. The problem with this move, and now I'm making fast moves because these moves to me seem natural and obvious, is now I hit him with a bishop b5. And once I land bishop b5 in this position, it's funny, the computer only has me up, like 0.2, depending on, his response, or 0.4. But I'm obviously attacking his rook. I figured if he blocks with a bishop, I can trade this off, and I will have the bishop pair. And this was the first time that I thought I was clearly better, because I could point to the bishop pair against the knights, and I have the open lines. I'll have to own the file by being able to bring my rook in. And finally, without like this threat with potential sacks, finally my king will also be safe. So he kind of showed me the door, showed me the path, which is I'm thankful for. I think these moves were kind of obvious and easy. So nonetheless, I play bishop b5. Apparently, this is a move that like neither of us saw. Apparently, he's supposed to. I mean, this is insane. It's a computer line. He's supposed to just give up the exchange by playing bishop a6. Which shuts the door on me castling, but it gives up a whole exchange to do so. Frankly, no one at my level is going to play that move. This move makes a lot of sense, just simply moving the rook. I thought I was going to do something. If he moves the rook, I thought I would either potentially play queen c6, kind of forming the battery, or I would slam the bishop there. Nonetheless, he didn't do that, and instead he blocks with the bishop. And I think it kind of makes sense from his position, because he wanted to develop the bishop. Unfortunately, he misses the tactical idea here. And I realized immediately, again, didn't spend much time here. I did like maybe an extra quick calculation that if I trade, not only would I have the bishop pair, but I also would have this long-term pin, and I'd be able to apply more pressure. And to be completely honest, it looks like, according to the computer and everything, this was kind of the game-losing mistake for my opponent, to be completely honest. So Jamie, if you're watching these, I don't think you do, but if you do, thanks for the game. And looking at the computer, this was like this was where the game was lost, basically. Because once I take, he then takes with his knight, and I realize I have all the time in the world, but I have a very, very clear plan. I didn't spend that much time on it. It's the best move according to the computer. It basically makes me just having a winning position, and I play queen to c6. And the reason why, and it made a lot of sense to me, is obviously if he trades, which is potentially the best move, and then I take, this pawn's undefended, this is long-term pinned. I thought maybe his best line would be to just honestly give up the exchange, and if he doesn't trade, then I'm going to just win a piece by force. It looks like he can do something kind of interesting. If he goes rook a to d8, then I assume I'm just going to take the pawn and then double up his pawns, and he's got still the pressure of the pin. What do they say if he does that? They don't say anything. All right, well, regardless, he does play, in theory, the best response, which is to take. I'm actually just kind of curious. I'm just going to rewind real quick. Because if he plays this, yeah, I was going to trade and just double up his pawns. Okay, this is the line that I saw. This is what I thought was going to happen, for the record. And I didn't think I was like +2, don't get me wrong. But I thought with the bishop pair, the double pawns, and I would own the file. I was either going to castle or play rook c1. I'm actually kind of curious. They don't like this move at all. Bishop takes on d4. Oh! Well, I'm glad I didn't do that. I mean, again, I would have thought in between moves. But because I have that long-term... Yeah, that's why I need to castle here first. Okay, of course. To break the pin. So now he doesn't have that, and I still have this long-term pin on him. All right. Which you could go e7, and then I maybe have this move to still win. Anyway, wiggle on through. Nonetheless, like looking at it, that variation is very, very strong. I did see that. However, he takes with his queen. I take with my rook. And at this point, we play a lot more moves, but I'm happy to say I'm playing pretty well. He kind of broke, and positionally, it was that b6 move followed up with blocking with bishop. And he's just in a world of hurt. So, once I take, he now plays rook a to d8, which he has to, otherwise just gives up the exchange. And after he plays rook a to d8, oh, interesting. Apparently I should queenside castle. I considered that, to be honest, but I thought that I wanted my rook on c1, so I went kingside castle. Yeah. Apparently it's slightly weaker of the two, but that is interesting for sure. The computer gives me an accuracy. That's a little bit much, a little bit mean. And the reason I don't take immediately, for the record, is I didn't have to. He's not moving his rook, so I thought that I could improve my position before I win my pawn. I didn't know if I'd be up like 1.5, but I knew I had the bishop pair, I knew I'd be up a pawn, and I knew I'd have the open file, so in my mind I was probably thinking, I'd probably up like 1.5 equivalent. And it kind of jives with the computer evaluation, so so I'm loving it. It's like, pretty solid, no complaints here. My opponent thought for a while, and he ends up playing what move in a post cap I told him was clearly wrong. In fact, it's, if he just plays, I told him he needed to immediately play rook e7, force me to take. But he plays g6. I don't understand this move. I think he was maybe getting some luft for his king, but I'm not really going to back rank mate him, so I don't understand it. He needs to play this move. This is what I thought he'd play. I thought he would play this, and then I would take, and we'd go from here. And the computer wants him to basically go like c5, get some nice jumps for his knight. They want me to then take. He would take with the f pawn. He actually probably would take the rook, to be honest. And I thought we were going to be playing this position. I probably would take. Let's see, they want me to go c3. That makes sense as well. Either takes or c3. Regardless, I thought we were going to get this position. An endgame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where I was up a clear pawn, I have the bishop against the knight, and my king's a little more safe where I have the luft, and he doesn't. So I thought this was going to happen. At high level play, this is like white can never lose from this position, but they can win. At low level play, anything is possible. At my level play, I like my chances, but it's hardly a done deal. However, that is not what happened. When he plays g6, I thought this was a bad move because I figured I didn't have to take right away. I figured I could improve my position. They like b4, which is the move I'm considering to basically make my bishop no longer bad, so I'm actually doing something. But I play what looks like one of the other good moves in this position. Again, just kind of continuing to build on the advantage here, and I play rook f to c1. My thinking was, in this line, when he forces me to trade, and then I basically trade the knight, he's no longer defending this pawn with the knight, and my rook would immediately be attacking it. So I thought that there would be some lines where I'd actually be winning 2 pawns. That's what I saw, anyway. Now, after I play rook fc1, now he forces me to take. And it's interesting. Rook e7 is obviously fine. But we were thinking in the post cap, g5. Okay, well, that's not giving up the exchange. We were thinking at some point that maybe his best line was to actually give up the exchange. Anyway, it's all good. It's interesting that Peter actually likes b4. That's fascinating to me. Not even taking the pawn. Like, this is confusing to me. If you look at the computer, like, best plan forward, it's wild to me. They want to play b4. Well, that's not what happened. Anyway, he plays e7, I take, which is the second best move in the position. But the computer is really critical. They're giving me an accuracy. I thought that if I take, that he is salvaging it with this move. Yeah, attacking. If I move, I thought he could take. I would take. Interesting, because I'm always basically computer says I'm always winning another pawn anyway, and I've solved my deficiency because my rook is attacking his. Okay, I'm gonna win the exchange. Interesting. Well, I didn't see that, of course, obviously, or else I would have just played b4 here. I just went for the simple line of taking the pawn, which I think is still very, very good. Bishop takes on d5. He responds knight f6. And then from here, it was kind of clinical. Again, I thought when I take, if he takes with the rook, I just win another pawn, and I land my rook on the 7th rank. I thought he'd have to take with the pawn, and then you have shitty pawn islands. I'd be up, clear pawn. I would own the file. I thought if I take, follow along. If I take, he takes. I would then move my rook to c6. He does something, let's say double up his rooks, and then I double up here, and I think I'd be chopping another pawn. Unfortunately, my opponent at this position didn't respond the best way with takes. Again, f takes is almost a pawn better. For some reason, he took with a rook. In the recap, Jamie told me that he was kind of like reeling, that like he lost a pawn. He didn't realize he was going to lose another pawn here. And the truth is, if he defends by taking pawn takes, computer still says in this position, the computer still says that, yeah, I would have played rook c6. That was my plan. That I'm up almost 3 pawns equivalent, and I like my chances to win. As I told him, yeah, I'm probably not winning 100% of the time, but it's probably north of 90%. But it's definitely the position he should have gone into, because I was going to do this. I'm obviously going to double stack here. They want rook to d6, and I was going to play rook ac1. Yeah, we were going to get this position. And I just thought here, he's losing another pawn, and he has no counterplay. Like, there's zero counterplay for black, so he just has to grip down a pawn in kind of a really not fun position to play. However, he doesn't do that. He takes here, and clearly, like, my eyes kind of bulged. I said, like, really? Is that, your move? Not in a dickish way. We're on good terms. But I then take the rook, the pawn on c7. And again, once this is underway, I made the joke. I said, sure, against a grandmaster, I'm not winning this, but against anyone in the chess room, that includes, I think there's like one NM there and the Boylston and stuff, like against everyone else, like, it would be very hard for me to screw this up. I mean, it's possible, don't get me wrong, but almost impossible. I say that because, like, anything is possible, but, like, again, almost impossible. Anyway, he responds knight e4, and at this point, I'm going to make some of the faster moves because I don't think any of these moves were that challenging. I obviously want to maintain my bishop, so I play the clear move, bishop e1. I'm also protecting the f2 square, so if he ever thinks that he can swing down with an attack, he can't. When I play this, bishop f1, this is move 25, bishop e1, excuse me. He now goes rook d5, maybe trying to like swing an attack somehow. I just double up my rooks, and now the game is going from like bad to worse, and at this point +4, pretty much, you can shut the door, slam the door, hodor, whatever you want to call it, because with rook ac1, I'm lining it up. I figured I would basically, trade off a rook. He has 0 attack here. If I ever need to, I can always move my rook to c2. And he probably could have resigned from this position, to be honest. He plays that a little bit more. He plays h5. He wants to get some breathing room for his king. And as he said, some potential attack in the future. I play rook c1 to 6. Do they like this move? No. Oh, no, they do. Okay, that's the nomenclature, 1c6. Okay, I thought it was c1-6. It's still a pretty good move. My thinking here is I'm preventing him from just like slamming it there and trading. If we trade off a rook, that's great. If he somehow if he dodges backwards, I'm just going to win a clear pawn. Obviously, he can't go there because then I just win it. So I thought he'd have to trade. He slightly surprises me by going rook d on 5 to 6. So what is that nomenclature? Rook 5d6 maybe? I don't know. Anyway, let's see what the computer says. Rook dd6. All right, well, whatever the nomenclature is, he does that. Okay, I actually took a minute on this move. And at this point, as I mentioned, the clocks had drawn down, but at this point, we supposed still had like more than 30 minutes, like 35. And this is why he probably should have resigned, because it wasn't like I was down to like 1 minute. I had 30 minutes to win this position. But the game goes on, and I did play the most accurate move. All right, my accuracy hopefully helps. And the reason why I did the check, rook c8, is I thought that I would want to bring my bishop here and then have like long-term potentially a mate. So I wanted to move his king. It's a very minor thing. I'm just again, it's difference of 0.04. I'm just, hey, when I play a more accurate move, I want to at least pat myself on the back. Like sometimes I see reasons why it might help him for his king to be a little bit further from the action. So I played it. And it is marginally better. He plays king g to 7, which is better. I actually thought it would be better for him to play here, so there's no fuckery of the bishop. But nonetheless, when he moves over there, now I trade one of the rooks off. Rook takes on d6. The other reason I checked here is I thought then lines if my rook is here and I then move here, when he takes with a knight, it's actually under attack. Whereas now, if he takes with a knight, which is what he does, I can swing to apply pressure to the b6 pawn, and it's not under attack from the knight. So that was all going through my head, like honest to goodness, it was. And it looks like the computer. Again, I shouldn't congratulate myself too much. This is just dead winning. So, but it is nice when I have logic behind moves, and yeah, that's like why I play this stuff. Anyway, he plays knight takes again. It's like a +5 position. Pretty clearly, I want to attack his pawns. I feel like I didn't quite see a mate, but this is the way the cookie crumbles. So I play rook to b8. He then does play the best move. He plays knight c4. Again, he's defending this pawn. He's technically attacking. The computer wants me to play... Oh, I play the best move. Okay, and I play the best move, and now I get my bishop exactly where I want it. All my pieces are defended. I have a clear, strong pawn structure. I'm up 2 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I also potentially have a mate. I was setting that up by basically running on through and checkmate. So I saw that. So I was like feeling really great about myself basically at this point. I was like, all right, can't lose. He plays king to h6. It's the only way, again, he can dodge those checkmates. The computer really likes his moves. This guy, by the way, same with the game 1. When the game is like out of balance, both when I was minus, when he was up +5 against me when I blundered the piece and everything, and here when I'm +5, he plays the best moves when the game is way out of reach for either player, which is kind of funny. He does not make these like little mistakes, or at least in the 2 games he's played against me. All right, other people crumble quickly. Jamie does not. After that, I thought I saw a mating net. They do like my plan of h4, because then it's the same deal. If I push the pawn, I have checkmate, because boom, this square is taken away by this pawn. This one would be taken away by the rook, and this one by the bishop. So I want to set up the mating web. That's why I play h4. And he foils my plan. I'm setting checkmate up. He plays g5. Again, game is over, but he is playing it out. Most people do. Can't fault him. Computer wants me to go d5. Interesting. I thought if I played d5, he would just be able to move the rook over. And that's fucking brilliant. That makes sense. They can't move the rook because then it takes away the square for the knight. So you win a knight for the pawn. I didn't see that. I saw that if I check his knight, that's the only move. And then I have the ability to pin the knight, rather than moving here onto the king. But that makes a lot of sense. If I push here, he has to block, and then I can attack his knight. Okay. So that's why it's the best move in the computer. Again, it's over, but, whatevs. They also like the h8 check. The problem was I didn't really see the follow-up here. Oh, I see. Because I moved it here, if I chase his king out, I'm winning the pawn again when I bring my rook down. Okay, that makes a lot of sense too. I did what I think is... All those lines are obviously great. The computer, endorses them. But I did what I thought was also winning, which is rook c8, which is the 3rd best move. And so there you go. Again, because I knew this was the only move he had, knight to d6, which is what is played. Computer knight d6. And then I thought, interestingly, I can check him as well, but I played the simple human move in this case, which is rook c6. Thinking, of course, this is now pinned. I can obviously now win the b pawn. When that falls, these are these are passed pawns, and the game is over. Again, at this point, opponent, could have resigned, but he doesn't. And you know what? There's a moment where he could have turned the game around. By the way, you're about to find out. It's why people shouldn't resign at this level. But again, in my mind, I'm thinking I've won the game, and I was pretty happy with myself. But the game is not completely over because the opponent has not resigned yet, and I've not been able to checkmate him. So instead, he now plays g takes on h4. I wasn't concerned about these. I thought that they didn't matter. I go rook takes b6. Again, now these are kind of unstoppable. It's +5, whatever. But the computer does like my move. He then plays rook to g6. Again, when the game is out of question, my opponent does find the best moves. It's actually very inspiring that he fights very hard. Um, Interesting. They want me to move my king right away, which I considered, or run with my king. Oh, okay, my move is still very, very good. It's up there. And I took his a pawn with my bishop. My thinking is I can then drop it back to b4, and then look at this. I'm gonna win a piece, and then maybe he'd resign. I wasn't concerned about him pushing the pawns because I thought that it wouldn't matter. But you're about to see a crazy computer tactic that most people wouldn't be able to find, but. We'll see. All right, he plays h3. I go g3, which is the second or third best move. He responds with h4, which is the only plan here. I mean, again, you're trying to rip it on open. You play h4, and I need to play king h2, which is one of the moves I considered. My move was second best. It's still very, very good. Okay, so there's like no problem with my move. I now pin his knight. So I'm thinking the game is over. It's excellent. He should resign. Blah, 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 blah. Blue, blah, 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 blah. And he plays h takes on g3. My notes in my score sheet at this point become very, very quick because we're kind of blitzing moves out kind of towards the end. But I probably shouldn't do that because I actually blunder here. And this is the one spot in the game, which is funny, where my opponent actually could have beaten me. And I didn't realize this until I looked at this on the tee heading home. I have to take first because I saw if I take, he doesn't have these pushes because I can just take and then trade. But he has a crazy line where I take, and he actually can take here, and then I take. He can push this pawn, check. I thought I was always there to. I don't know. I'm still not seeing it because I thought that I was fine. But I go rook takes on. Oh, that's right. You have to push this first. Yes. Fucking brilliant. And if he found the resource here, I probably would have lost the game. Instead, my opponent plays f6, which blocks the rook. I didn't actually see that. And now I realize, oh shit, I need to just clean sweep. And I play the best move, which is f takes on g3. So he had a moment where he could have completely fucked me. And that would be if he plays h2. The reason why is the only move is g2. And then when you take this pawn, I can only kill off one of them. Like, I'm obviously checked, so I would go check here. Let's say he goes pawn takes. I'm going to lose. I don't know what to say. I cannot stop both of these pawns. He's going to make a queen, and I'm going to lose the game. So it just goes to show that if you fight this long, sometimes you have a winning tactic. And I realized it here, by the way, where I need to fucking kill these pawns. But basically I didn't realize on the train that I opened the door. I did see it here. But that was the moment. He fought really hard. He could have swung the game. I could have lost this game. That was totally careless on my side. Really, really bad. Thankfully, though, the game will end pretty soon. Once he loses the opportunity, he then does rook check. Excuse me. I play king h2, which makes sense. And here, my opponent played on a little bit longer. In fact, I don't know at what point for the accuracy I should call it quits. Eventually, he resigned, but he actually almost got me in a stalemate. And so I actually, and like I didn't want to be disrespectful, but he was feeling kind of disrespectful when not resigning. I kind of had two minds. I then was going to make all my pieces queens. I'll show you what happens. I mean, this is kind of the end of the game anyway, because when I do this, he now plays rook takes on e3. This move loses immediately. I play bishop d2, and I thought at this point he was going to resign. Again, the score sheet goes on even longer. I don't know why, but the reason why actually is he found almost a stalemate. So I'm gonna play the moves up to the stalemate. I basically go bishop takes. I figured with this down, everything is fine. He plays b5. F5. I play king takes on h3. And he plays this move. He plays f4. Because what's funny is if I take, it's stalemate. So he played this one. I'm moving pretty fast. I do the almost about to take, and then I'm like, whoa. And that's why to Jamie, I was like, oh, that's pretty freaking clever. I'll show you what I like. As soon as he does this, I realize I can check him and avoid any of the nonsense. Let's see, f4. I then play rook d5 check. And when I play rook d5 check, at this point I'm not even writing all the moves accurately. He goes to g6. Now I take the pawn. Yeah, if I just took the pawn here, look at that, stalemate. How nuts is that? How cool is that as well? I would have drawn this game by playing. Again, the computer is still confused. They're like, we don't say a move. It's because there is no move. It's stalemate. He cannot move here. 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 And he's not in check. So actually, I wouldn't say I almost fell for the stalemate trap. I didn't, but I saw it. And I even said at the board, I was like, whoa, Jamie, almost a stalemate. Anyway, at this point, when I did end up taking the pawn, we end up playing. I wrote on my score sheet I didn't mate him until move 56. So rather than mate in 7, I mated him in 10, which is not bad. For accuracy, I don't know if I'm supposed to write down the moves, but the short answer is I just start marching my pawn up because he's not resigning. So once I take, he actually retreated to h7. I then played my rook here to kind of get it on the again at the edge of the board, and he spends the whole time kind of moving his king. I'm not sure if these are the exact moves because I didn't even write them all down accurately. But I basically at first marched my king up. He kind of moved his king back and forth. I get my king to, where did I get it to? F6. F6, yeah, there. And the whole time he's now moving back and forth. And then I start marching my pawns up with the idea that I was going to make 3 queens. But then it didn't happen. And then I ended up, when I pushed these pawns, he... apparently if I go f7, yeah, then that's just checkmate. All right, well, whatever. I don't know if the computer is going to hate my accuracy because I made him in 10 rather than 7, but I really was of two minds of making, a bunch of queens because he wasn't resigning for whatever reason. When we did the recap afterward, he's like, yeah, I just was going to play it out. And I honestly, given he had that opportunity down here to actually turn the game around and he had the stalemate trap, I'm going to tip my cap to him because he was absolutely right to play it out. And it's going to, you know what, and for the record, fuck it. I'm playing out every game, from now on as well, because you never know the blunders people can make. Maybe when I get to a certain rating, maybe 1800 or whatever, maybe at that point I'll give people credit for just, closing the door. But anyway, I did have 56 moves on my score sheet, so I guess I may as well play it out. Again, I don't know if this helps or hurts the accuracy, but may as well just be accurate according to what's written. So, all right, so what's happening? He plays h8. I just have I have d6, d7, d8 equals queen, just written, back and forth. So let's see what happens. Apparently I mated him on move 56, not on move 55, but I don't know what, I think I made an in-between move or something. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, because this is not how I mated him actually. I think I moved my queen something like this. Yeah. Alright, this makes more sense. And then checkmate. Alright, so something like that. I mean, at the end of the game, and then he resigned. He actually got mated on this square or this square. Let's see, which square? No, he got mated on h8. I stopped writing down the moves. I don't know. Whatever. So that was the game. So looking at this recap, it's been an hour. Jeez. I'm really happy I got my revenge. If you look at the game, I think I played mostly pretty well. I'm a little disappointed about, missing that tactic at the end, which I should have been cleaner. But yeah, mostly I played pretty solidly. By the way, my rating for whatever reason is still 1579 rather than 1477 or something like that. So, which is no problem for me. But yeah, he's 1329. And again, I think Jamie's rating. I'm gonna write it as Jamie. Well, I'll write it in the spreadsheet as Jamie. What did I say? God, I just forgot what I said. 1329. Yeah, so Jamie's rating actually has gone up because he won the U15s last month. So his rating has actually gone up a little bit. In fact, he commented when we played. He's like, "Oh, your rating has gone up," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." But I know it's then since gone down. So let's do a new collection. Boylston Chess Club, September. So we're going to have 5 games, assuming I don't get a bye. And first one started out with a win. Pretty pumped. When I looked at this on the train, my accuracy was 90%, which is really good. Yeah, okay, 90.2. I think it was 90 on the train because maybe I made a different endgame move. This is really bad. This one move blunder where he could have seized it. Oh my god, I would have killed my. Not really. I shouldn't say that even. But yeah, apparently I played pretty well. They love my opening. I feel good about that. My opponent, it's funny because when we went over the game, he's like, "What mistake did I make?" I really think that b6 move was positionally really, really defunct. And then when he blocked with a bishop, is kind of where everything was bad. He had his one chance to come back, so I didn't play like masterfully. But I'm never gonna be unhappy about a 90% accuracy game. I think, although this was not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, I am very happy with how I played here. I didn't feel like I took unnecessary risks. I feel like I calculated pretty well, and I think my opponent played decently. Like if you look at it, he didn't make like clear blunders, but he didn't make the best moves, and I was able to kind of attack that. So I feel proud, which is a good way to be. I don't know my pairing next week yet. My plan is I might play Thursday club chess, maybe not. But yeah, last tournament last month I didn't do very well, but I still have a potential to win this one. I mean, I'm certainly in the running with a 1-0 start. Yeah, and I did say he needed to do that. I mean, he had a chance to fight better. Like rather than this, if he pushes the rook, and then of course they're gonna say with the pawn they don't like this. I mean, it's crazy. I did not see that this is better, but it makes sense. Maybe I could have found this actually. Anyway, I thought this was still just winning. And then here, if he, rather than take with the rook, he should take with the pawn, and then boom. I don't necessarily have that right away. Anyway, once this is done, I thought that this was elementary, and I can't believe I opened the door over here, because everything seems to be completely winning, and then, holy shit, what a blunder. I need to just take this right away, which is clear, because then if he takes, I then move here, and we're in the same position, this is still pinned, and I'm just totally winning. So, I have no idea what the hell is wrong with me, but, yeah, he had a real chance to completely fuck me. I'm so glad. Anyway, and then of course I didn't find like the quickest checkmate. Some of these moves might be slightly inaccurate, but overall cannot argue with that. And on that note, I'm gonna sign off. Thanks a lot. Actually, let me do this real quick. I'm kind of curious if they have the standings up. No, they don't have the standings up yet. Oh, that's a bummer. And previous Swisses they have. So there's me. I thought I was 1477, but they have me as 1579 right now. And they've got James is 1300 right now, but I think he put himself as 1300. I'm actually kind of curious what this has him as. 1329. Yeah, 1329. Okay. Not too shabby. All right. I'm actually kind of curious. He's only played one draw in his career. He's played all of his games this year as well. Yeah, it looks like he's completely crushed weaker players. Basically a near perfect record when someone's 1100 or lower. And then as soon as he gets to the big boys, I don't know what his win counts as me, because I was like I was maybe on. No, I wasn't unrated because he had a win against me, but I should have been unrated there. I have no idea. All right, well, whatever. Maybe it's his one. Maybe it's his one win against a 1500 is the win against me. Again, I totally butchered that game, but yeah, it looks like Jamie feasts on basically sub 1300. His record's impeccable, and then once you get to 1400 plus. He doesn't do very well at all. So, interesting. Nice guy. I thought I had another story as well, but we went over the games. Yeah, those moves very, very interesting. And it's been a pleasure. All right, have a good night.